Last week, federal agents dressed in camouflage gear conducted a military-style raid on an apartment building in South Shore, a neighborhood of Chicago. They brought Black Hawk military helicopters and more than 100 agents in full tactical gear. Even though it was supposedly a very dangerous and important mission, they brought dozens of cameras and set them up so that they could film their attack on the building in HD for social media. See for yourself.
That was some good production. That was some good production from ICE. I'm so confused. I don't know if the governor is showing the video to make us upset and like disgusted, but that looked like some good police force. Like that looked like something that y'all need to be doing in Chicago. It's a war zone. It's a war zone, but you know what? The war zone is not towards blue-eyed, blonde-haired little girls. So it's a war that they could kind of like put up with, you know? But if it was a whole bunch of blue-eyed, if I'm sure if Governor Spitzer had a neighborhood with a whole bunch of blue-eyed, blonde-haired little girls, 14, 15, and they was shooting themselves up, best believe his police force will be doing this too. But that's the thing that the Democrats do. They brainwash you to a point where you don't even think reality no more. Like your logic is all off. Like, wait a minute. Why am I protesting against police in a neighborhood I just saw somebody get their brains blown off? And I can't even sleep because there are gunshots every night. And I can't even go outside without hearing and dang 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 dang. The migrants are playing all type of bachata.
So even though they documented the raid, their propaganda video conveniently left out important facts. In the dead of night, and seemingly for the cameras, armed federal agents emerged from the Black Hawk helicopters, rappelling onto the roof of that apartment building. According to media reports, the agents ransacked multiple apartments and detained almost everyone in the building, including U.S. citizens and children who had done nothing wrong. Witnesses told reporters that federal officers zip-tied the...
What about the children that are dying in your city that did nothing wrong? What about the children that are dying in your state that did nothing wrong? All your resources and all your time is going towards a branch of government that is doing their job. Meanwhile, you're walking around and giving speeches looking like an Oopa Loopa. Looking like a Oopa Loopa. I always say this guy always looked like the one that went up on the roof. And he was Humpty Dumpty.
the hands of people, including children and seniors. Some, including U.S. citizens, were detained in the back of vans for hours. Seemingly proud of this shameful treatment of innocent people, they recorded it, and Kristi Noem posted.
Yo, they are so fake. You could see the fakeness coming from him. And I'm not even in person. If you can't see the fakeness coming off of him, like he look like he don't like a soul. He's just playing the politician game. And it's not because he's a white man. Trust me. I'm not that type. I don't think like that.
The video, bragging about the operation. Since we sat through that propaganda, I think it's important to hear directly from members of the community who experienced this takeover of the building.
Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught.
And look who they chose to interview. Look, oh my gosh. Why? Why us? Why do I have to be part of this community? Why? Why I just couldn't be like, you know, born in the Jewish community, doing Jewish things? Oh, why I couldn't be part of, like, you know, let's say maybe, I don't even know, the Indian community, doing the Indian things, like, you know, I already got a wife ready for me. My parents is pushing education on me. Why?
I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. Where's the morality?
And where's what kids? Where's your son? Is he out there shooting and carjacking? Huh, baby mama? Why are you standing out there alone? Let's get to that. Why are you standing out there alone? You should have a husband beside you or some strong man beside you, and y'all holding hands and y'all talk about what's going on. Why you have a flag or a bonnet on your head looking like a poor, sad excuse? You look like a poor, sad excuse.
Where's the human? One of them literally laughed. He was standing right here. He said, them kids.
Watson says budget trucks and military-style vans.
F them kids, man. Listen, man, we got an operation going on, ma'am. Ma'am, you don't even care about the kids. Listen, none of y'all care about the kids. You see, this is where the hypocrisy comes. You see the governor, he stands up there and he looks you in the eye and say, we love the kids. And then you got this baby mama. She just came out one of the project buildings. Who knows what her oldest son is doing, even if she had one, or her nephew's doing. She know these people like this know that there are kids and teenagers out there shooting and killing. But when it comes to a white officer or anything that's opposite of what they represent, they're the evil ones. Like, oh my gosh, you took the kids out the building and you put them in a van? What about the boys that go past a block and spray all the kids up and everybody's dead? Huh? And the governor and the mayor does nothing about it.
Vans were used to separate parents from their children. Other neighbors say.
All right, let's move on. No one can hear it, although ABC 7 gets credit.
They had a big 15-inch chainsaw with a round blade on it, cutting this fence down. We're under siege.
What did he say? One of his little corny jokes? Your little corny little fat cupcake jokes, huh, governor? I don't care how much gel you got in your hair, bro. You think I care about gel? What you think I'm scared of hair gel? I'm not scared of hair gel, bro. What you need to do, you need to go to Planet Fitness and get your mind right.
Being invaded by our own military.
The FBI did confirm this morning that they did help the U.S. Border Patrol carry out a targeted.
Look at this fool standing in front of the screen. Everybody else turned around to the audience, and this dude with the hunchback is still looking at the screen. What you got, Alzheimer's, bro? What you got, Alzheimer's, huh? Salt and pepper head? With your hunchback. Turn around. Turn around. We are done watching the video, hunchback.
Immigration enforcement operation in this area, and they say they have been supporting these efforts at the direction of the U.S. Attorney General.
Of the U.S. Attorney General. She's higher than you, Governor. She's higher than you, Mayor. She's higher than she's actually the boss of your whole entire police force. She's the boss of your whole entire legal force, whatever legal team y'all got out there, all the lawyers, all the prosecutors. She is the general, the U.S. General Attorney sent them out there. Y'all don't see what they're doing. They're wasting time instead of focusing on building better schools and providing textbooks for your kids. And this is their focus, healthcare, and watching this pretty black woman up on the screen that's looking like a little baddie.
Imagine being a child awakened in the middle of the night by a Black Hawk helicopter landing on your roof. Imagine an armed stranger entering your home and forcibly removing you from your bed, zip-tying your hands, separating you from your family, and detaining you in a dark van for hours. This didn't happen in...
Imagine you living in a city and you can't come outside without getting shot in the head. Imagine you living in a city and you can't afford no housing because the taxes are super high and the Democratic politicians are taking all of your money. How about that?
In some faraway authoritarian regime. It happened right here in Chicago, right here in the United States of America. The reports of excessive use of force against children is unconscionable. And the way many innocent residents who lived in the building were treated is appalling. In response, I've directed the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services and the Illinois Department of Human Services to provide support and to evaluate the treatment of the children who were...
Can't be serious. You can't be serious. Those kids have been traumatized by the violence of Chicago and nobody called support. Nobody calls support. Democrats only make moves for political gain. They're not into making your society a good society. They're just not, that is not even part of their agenda. They're not into making your schools good. You think that's part of the Democratic agenda? That's a Republic agenda. You're being fooled. And I was fooled too for a very, very long time. But I always knew in the back of my head, something is just not right.
Traumatized. If they find suspected abuse or neglect by federal agents, the state will be taking every possible action to hold those individuals accountable. Now, I'd like to turn to some examples of the more egregious actions that we've seen from ICE, CBP, and the other federal agents. Over the past several weeks, it has been...
Look at Brandon Johnson back there looking like a complete idiot. All you see is his stupid freaking mohawk. I just want to tie him down and just shave his whole entire head.
Been made abundantly clear that Trump's invasion force is not going after the worst of the worst, like he said. They're harassing and detaining many people based only on the color of their skin.
Why are you lying to the people? Why are you lying to the people? This is the Democratic agenda. Calls separation amongst races. Calls separation amongst races. That's their primary agenda.
Tamale vendors, delivery people, people looking for work at Home Depot, and even families just out and about enjoying themselves on a sunny day. Dasha Ramirez, an 8-year-old girl, and her family.
You're not supposed to look for work at Home Depot, Governor. That's how you know these people are not. These people are fake. This dude is just playing a part. You cannot go to Home Depot and look for work. That is illegal. You can't have people working in your house that's not a general contractor. And this is a governor. He's saying, leave the people alone looking for work at Home Depot. What do you think they're doing? They're looking to build kitchens, closets, plumbing. These are handyman at Home Depot. They're illegal migrants, which they definitely do help out a lot. But still, it's against the law. It's against the law. Now, if you listen to the governor, you will have all these migrants who are looking for a job at Home Depot fix everything in your house, put new walls up, change do the plumbing, and then when your house is going to be reevaluated, they're going to be like, yo, you didn't get permits for anything. You can't go back to this video and say, yo, the governor said it's all good. He said, it's okay to look for work at Home Depot. It's okay. The governor would deny it, and he will play you because they only say things based on a political gain.
Were detained by federal agents while enjoying a day in Millennium Park. Witnesses saw her crying and clutching her doll. Honestly, what danger did they represent? What is it that they presented that was so awful? And how did
they're migrants, sir.
Detaining them make anyone safer? Federal agents have been openly carrying assault rifles downtown, racially profiling people, and based on that, demanding proof of citizenship and snatching people up in our neighborhoods without a judicial warrant. All of it rightfully has Illinoisans very upset. In the small suburban village of Broadview, with a population of 8,000, federal agents have turned 2 blocks of protest areas into a war zone by firing chemical agents and tear gas at peaceful protesters. They've
No rights.
No.
He has constitutional rights. Do you have a sign?
No, you need to leave.
For me.
Turn around. You're turn around and leave.
He is under.
I'm going to arrest you if you do not leave.
You are going to be placed under arrest.
Do you have a sign? Judicial warrant for him.
Can somebody go in the hallway and get Lisa for me, please?
Judicial warrant for him.
Can somebody go in the hallway and get Lisa for me? This is an older person who's being under arrest. I need my other staffer who's in the hallway by registration to come here, please.
You are hurting. I am asking.
She's an alderman that's being arrested and she knows she's illegal. Anybody that knows that they're a citizen of the United States will be like, bro, I'm going to let you arrest me and then you're going to be laughed at when we go to court because I have a birth certificate, sir. That's how you know an illegal is illegal, when they play these games. Imagine this person managed to be a alderman of Chicago. Meanwhile, you, the person at home, is trying to figure out how to make it. You're trying to figure out, like, dang, what can I... And this person who citizenship expired probably 10 years ago has a alderman job that you could have held position of because you did the right things to do to be legal in the country.
Can somebody get my staffer, please?
This is a hospital. Do you have a sign to this warrant for him? I am asking. I am asking. I did not touch you.
We told you to leave.
I did not touch you.
Now you're
I
under
did not
arrest for
touch you.
impeding.
I did
Thank
not
you.
touch you. I asked you if you had a
Is
signed
Lisa still out
judicial
there?
warrant for him. It is very simple. It is very simple. That man has constitutional rights. I did not touch you. It is a public space. I am not trespassing. I am asking you, do you have a signed judicial warrant? I am asking.
I don't think people really know what the federal government is. I don't think people know what federal law enforcement, the powers that they have. I I don't think people really know. Why you think the most terrified thing in the hood, and I remember being in the hood, the most terrified thing that dudes was scared of. And I came from Newark, Irvington, New Jersey, and I'm telling you, when state troopers took over Irvington from a young child, they walked around with choppers and shotguns and stood at corner stores. And that was probably the best. That was my most favorite time in Irvington because I knew I was safe. I remember even one time I went to the store and it was a big dude, tall, white state trooper standing right in front of the corner store with his gun out. He had his shotgun out right across his chest. And I was going in the store, and me and my friends was outside the store, and I was like, yo, let me get a quarter. And we was arguing about quarters and 5 cents, 10 cents, because we wanted to get some candy. And that officer looked at us. He bent down and said, hey, how y'all doing? I got a quarter for y'all. He gave all of us a quarter. And then kind of like rubbed our head and looked at us like, it was the most memorable look ever. He looked at us like a father, a white man with a shotgun standing in front of the store because Irvington was taken over by the governor. It was so much violence, the police couldn't handle it. So the governor of New Jersey signed an order for state troopers to take over my town. And it had to be the best thing ever. The best thing ever that happened to me.
Do you have a signed judicial warrant for him? It is a question, sir. You are an agent. You are a federal agent.
We do not need a
You are a
warrant for
federal
somebody
agent. I
under
am an
arrest.
elected official, and I'm asking, do you have
What
a
elected
signed
official?
judicial warrant? I'm the oldest.
She thinks these are regular police. I think that's the confusion that many people have. It's almost laughable. She thinks it's regular. I think and you know the thing about it, the governor mayor knows that these are not regular police, and they would not tell you anything different. They're gonna tell you to go outside with your kids and protest because they have an agenda. When the liberals have an agenda, they don't care what happens. They don't care what city gets destroyed, and they don't care what child bodies get manipulated to turn it from man to woman. When they have an agenda, they don't care how much the murder rate goes up as long as nonprofits are getting paid. They don't care if 1 million people are getting shot on a daily basis. They gonna still have an excuse and say, we're working on it. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. You have now experienced deeply disgusted.